Hey y'all, AB3 here. Before we get started with today's show, I just want to give you a couple of updates on the greatest hunting app that there is right now. Of course, I'm talking about the Onyx Hunt app. I have it. I don't go into the woods without it. Onyx Hunt, man, that application saved me so many times. I want to tell you about the wind and weather. We all know that plays a big part in what we do, how we decide to hunt, where we decide to hunt. And when you have the Onyx Hunt application, you can see hour by hour forecasts for wind speed and direction. Check it out for the next 8 days, any spot that you hunt on your map up to the next 8 days. That means you can plan ahead, kind of like how they said in the AT movie, plan ahead, amigo. You can do that when you got the Onyx Hunt app. Weather updates coming from 100,000 weather stations, refreshed every 15 minutes. Large, intuitive visuals make it easier for hunters to identify weather patterns, make those in-moment decisions, switch it up, kill those big deer, kill those big elk, get after those ducks and geese, making quick on-the-spot decisions, man, to help you be successful. Trim tracks, man. If you got the trim tracks, you can easily get to and from your stand. Sometimes you forget to turn your trim tracker off. Now with the trim tracks, you can trim those extra steps, get it down to a precise, direct route in and out of your hunt area. Onyx Hunt, know where you stand. Make sure if you don't have it for your Android or your iPhone, it is available. You can also use it on your browser. Web maps are available. Whatever you choose to use, just make sure you're using Onyx Hunt.
From Stone Mountain, Georgia, this is the Bryant Land Show. Hosted by proud Gamecock and South Carolinian AB3.
It's Monday, and you know what that means. It's time for another episode of the Bryant Land Show. Thank you for taking the time, making the download, coming through, checking us out. Hope everyone is having a great Monday, getting their Monday started off right. We have a great show for y'all today, and hopefully you are listening to it on our website, bryantlandcountry.com, where you can listen to our podcasts, watch our videos, listen to past podcasts, buy merch, all of that good stuff. Hopefully you are doing that. If not, wherever you're listening to our podcast, we certainly appreciate it. Want to send a big shout out to the folks over at Onyx Hunt. Thank you for sponsoring the podcast. And also want to send a shout out to the folks at Our Setter Boots, keeping us fitted, and Traeger Grills. Man, the sun has been out here in Georgia. Temperatures are starting to rise. It's time to break out your grill. So we appreciate the folks at Traeger Grill for outfitting us and getting our grilling on. Couple things I want to hit today before I get into my guest, which is Scott Einsmann from the ATA and Bowhunters United. We had a great conversation. Really enjoyed talking to him. I've been talking to the folks over at the ATA for the last couple of weeks, Archery Trade Association, for those of you that don't know. And hopefully we will get a chance to do some things together here in the near future. But like I said, I really have enjoyed talking to those folks over there. But I'm going to hit you with a couple of things before we get into the interview. So let's get started right now. As a person who has spent majority of their professional career working in media, specifically television, I try to educate folks and try to get you guys to think outside of the box and not fall for the tricks and the pitfalls that we have in the media that we use to grab people's attention. You know, people always want to blame the media and the media and the media. The media is pushing an agenda. The media is doing this. The media is doing that. The big bad media. And here on the Bryant Land Show and just in general, I try to educate you folks so you know what to look out for and kind of not be, influenced or spreading rhetoric when it comes to the media. That being said, I came across an article from deercast.com, the folks from Jury Outdoors. I was checking out their website and I came across an article. The headline of the article says, "Access Denied, Georgia to Ban Bow Hunting." Now, obviously, that is a headline used to do what? Grab you by the neck, bring you in, and read the article. Is Georgia as a state banning bow hunting? No, they're not. You have to go in, read the article to understand what is going on. The headline, like I said, is just used to snatch you up by the neck, bring you in, and hopefully you read the article. But what most people will do is see access denied, Georgia to ban bow hunting, and then be like, oh my God, Georgia's banning bow hunting. What the hell's going on? Well, I'm going to tell you what's going on because I read the article. February 9th, City Council meeting in Columbus, Georgia. The city of Columbus, Georgia, South Georgia area is now being considered for banning bow hunting in the city. So, the city of Columbus is out potentially bringing in an ordinance that would ban bow hunting in city limits. Now, we as bow hunters know that deer populations within city limits are pretty healthy, normally because they aren't hunted or not hunted on a regular basis, and they can pretty much hide in plain sight and be in a place where they are safe from hunters. Now, some people are, for this, and they think that is a good thing. We as hunters, part of what we do is conservation, keeping numbers in check. The article here says that, the amendment, quote, to add a provision limiting bow hunting to properties of at least 10 acres in size and for other purposes, end quote. Sounds innocent, but as the discussion continued, bow hunters were accused of potentially killing people's pets, i.e. the deer, leaving razor blades, broadheads around the woods along the roadside for kids to hurt themselves and putting their lives of citizens in danger because of a stray arrow possibly ricocheting. This is from that meeting in Columbus, Georgia. The mayor, Skip Henderson, blatantly states that he's against hunting. Councilman Glenn Davis, who brought the proposal forward, says that while they cannot stop hunting, they can impact the areas where hunting is allowed. The councilman also said that people in the neighborhood feed the deer, and they've become like pets, and then a bow hunter just sits there and shoots them. Now, these are from the mayor and the councilman from the city of Columbus. And anytime you have things going on within your city or within your county, you need to be up on it, especially when it comes to hunting, especially when it comes to our hunting rights. A lot of times people pay attention to, the big elections, the presidential election. You pay attention to, your governor election. But the truth be told, as for us, as for hunters and people that want to preserve our sport or our heritage for some way of life, we have to be a part of what happens locally. You have to pay attention to what happens locally. Everything isn't always about the libs and the dims and the snowflakes and all that other stuff. Like, you gotta pay attention to what's going on in your own backyard to protect our rights to be able to hunt. Now, like I said, this article came from DeerCast, Drury Outdoors. I would urge folks to check out with your state DNR, any local groups that promote bow hunting. You can definitely get on mailing lists from your DNR that'll keep you updated as to what things are going on in your state. I know here in Georgia, like there's always an issue, I want to say every year, of the GON magazine, the Georgia Outdoor News magazine, that lets you know where they're upcoming ordinances or laws that may affect hunters in general. But folks, like I've always said, we as a hunting population have to stick together, work together to protect what we love and what we do. Otherwise, folks will come in like this and they will basically be here to pick apart the carcass. Second thing I want to hit you with real quick before we get into our guest today. Turkey season around the corner, spring in the air. Make sure, if you have not already started, to start practicing your turkey calls, especially for newer hunters. I still consider myself a little bit of a newer hunter, especially when it comes to calling turkeys. Yes, I can do it. Yes, I've called in a turkey and killed it, but it still does not hurt to get those calls out and start practicing, especially if turkey hunting is not an obsession of yours and it's not something that you're doing year round. If you're hunting multiple species and you're focused on different seasons, now's the time to break out those turkey calls. Get to practicing. If you're going to bow hunt turkeys, get your turkey target out. Start practicing your shots, your reps, man. Preparation, before you know it, the season will be here. It will be at your doorstep. Third weekend in March, second weekend in March, third weekend, I want to make sure I got this right here in Georgia. Yes, second weekend in March, youth season, which basically, when you're listening to this podcast, weekend coming up. The weekend after that, full-blown turkey season, folks. So if you have not already started, get those calls out, get to practicing, get your turkey target out, put some shots up. Make sure you got your gun sighted in. If you're going to take your shotgun, 12 gauge, 410, 20 gauge, whatever it is that you use, make sure that you're out there practicing, getting right, man. It's an exciting time. Spring, winter's pretty much almost behind us in most places, especially here in the South. Spring is upon us and almost at our doorsteps. So get yourself ready and go out and get you a turkey. Now that we got all that other stuff out of the way, Scott Einsmann, outdoor writer, bow hunter, fly fisherman, archer. There is a difference. Bow hunter, archer, we talk about that in our conversation, but he's the digital content manager for the Archery Trade Association. Had a great conversation with him, just talking about bow hunting, talking about hunting in general, foods that we like when, or should I say after, hunting them, how to prepare foods, how to prepare your kills. We talk about all of that stuff. We get into it. So without any further ado, I'm going to move out the way. Scott Einsmann from the Archery Trade Association, right here, right now, on the Bryant Land Show.
Bryant Land.
Scott, thank you for taking the time to come through and join us on the Bryant Land Show, Connecticut, or should I say Richmond, Virginia, via Connecticut. How's it going today in beautiful Richmond?
Oh, man, it's great. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's a beautiful sunny day. Looking forward to shooting my bow later. And spring turkey season is right around the corner. Like these little peaks of spring we get, it gets the blood pumping. I'm excited.
Exactly, right? Because like today, like I'm in Georgia. Like I live down in Thompson, but I'm up here in Stone Mountain. I'm actually getting ready to go watch my son play his first baseball game
cool.
for the season. But it's funny, like whenever I go to practice, I see these geese like hovering around like on the track field and stuff, and it's hard for me to turn my brain off because I'm looking at the flock and I'm like, oh, that's a good one, that's a nice one, and then it comes back to me and I'm thinking, I'm like, now where would you set up in this field, like which way they're going, and then I start looking at them from a bow standpoint, and it's like, okay, because I've seen videos of people like hunting geese with a bow and taking geese out with a with a bow. So then I start looking at them and I'm like, so if I wonder if I hit it here, would that be a good shot from this angle? How close could I? It's amazing. Like I'm supposed to be at practice watching and, you know, enjoying that, but it's hard to turn that part of my brain off.
Oh man, yeah. It never gets shut off. Like if I drive somewhere with my wife, I'm like, you know, pointing deer out as we're going by, and like, you know, you see like a nice field, and like, man, I'd love to hunt back in there. That'd be cool.
It's like, how do you get in? Like, is there a good entrance point? Like, do you come out the same way? Is there a better exit point? Oh, yeah, it's totally bananas. Now,
it's a sickness.
As the digital manager for the Archery Trade Association, you have to exclusively bow hunt only, right?
I mean,
it's got to be a requirement.
it's definitely not a requirement, but archery is definitely my passion, and bow hunting is an extension of that. But I hunt, you know, squirrels with 22, hunt birds with a shotgun, hunt deer at least once a year with a gun. So
there you go.
I'm open to all possibilities.
Well, it's funny because I joined a hunt club this year, and I was talking to one of the members, and, you know, we were just having a conversation, just talking about the club or whatever. And I'm like, it's like, do you bow or gun? It was like bow during bow season and then gun during gun season. I was like, oh, wow. It's like, okay. He was like, what about you? I said, I bow hunt from beginning to end, from tip to tail. Like, I've never, in the short time that I've been hunting, because I've only been hunting for about 5 or 6 years now, you know, I've never shot a deer with a rifle or any kind of firearm, as a matter of fact. Only thing I've shot with a firearm is just, you know, ducks, geese, and then, you know, like the occasional turkey or whatever. But everything else, you know, I like to try to bow hunt. He was like, man, he's like, you good. He was like, because as soon as that calendar turns for gun season, he was like, I am pulling out my rifle and I am making up for lost time. And I was just like, hey, man, you know, whatever floats your boat. But I've said this on numerous occasions, and people that listen to my podcast probably get tired of hearing me say this, but there's nothing like having a deer standing 15 to 20 yards away from you. You can see its breath. You'll see its breath depending on, you know, the weather. You can hear them like crunching on, you know, corn or whatever it's eating. And to be that close is just the ultimate. Like, there's nothing like it.
Yeah. And I think some of my favorite times are when you have, you know, deer in front of you, like you want to shoot, but you're just waiting for the perfect angle. You know, it's facing you. You're waiting for that front shoulder to come forward. You know, you need it to turn a little bit. It's behind a tree. Those like tense moments where you're like trying not to get busted, trying to make the shot opportunity happen. Those are like some of my favorites.
And then they it seems like it takes forever. Like, I got into filming hunts this year finally. Like, I've dabbled in it before. Like, I'd bring my camera every now and then and stuff. And then, like, when my son would come with me, you know, he would run camera. But this season I committed to bringing my camera set up to every hunt, and I was very happy that I was able to get 2 shots and a very prolific miss. Like, I hit a branch and sawed it in half. You can see the arrow split. Like, the whole, like, it's crazy.
That's awesome.
So I was actually kind of proud of myself about that, because my goal was to get at least 4 kills on camera, and I got 2 kills and like I said, a very prolific miss. So I was happy with that. But my point being, going out and filming and being able to look back at like what you're doing and looking at your mistakes and stuff has been invaluable. But to your point, when you're sitting there and you're looking and you're waiting for it to turn and you're waiting for it to take that step, in real time, it seems like it takes 20 or 30 minutes. When I go back and look at it on video, it's like a 9-minute clip. It's like, and you're like, that's it? Because it seemed like it took like a half an hour for it to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, now, did you find that having that video help you with tracking the deer later, like calling a shot and all that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like the first one I shot, I thought it was just like a great shot. Like, and then I went back and I looked at it and it was like, it was long. And then definitely like tip of the spine. So it was higher than I wanted it to be. It was effective, but, it wasn't that perfect like center shot like I wanted. And then the second one, actually, between looking at it on video and examining the arrow, actually helped me recover that deer because it was lower than I thought it was. And then when I looked at the arrow and saw, it was basically all gut matter, I just let it go, waited overnight, called a guy that had a tracking dog, and we found the deer. And the only thing I could keep thinking was that if I would have been impatient and tried to track that deer in the evening, I would have either A, pushed her, or B, I would have never found her because she was in like some of the thickest stuff that she could find to bed down in. So definitely the video and knowing how to read an arrow definitely helped with that.
Yeah, for sure.
And do you do much filming yourself? Or because I find that also when you commit to shooting on camera, it's kind of like you basically got to shoot the deer twice. Like you got to get it in the right frame. Yeah. And then you got to execute a great shot. Like, do you do a lot of filming, or what? Like, what's some of your filming adventures?
I mean, I have tried many times to get, hunts on film and, pack cameras all over public land around here. When it comes down to it, I love, filmmaking, I love shooting videos. But when I'm by myself, I'm like, I'd rather shoot this deer than get it on film. I
just want to do it and get it over with. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, and I've missed opportunities because I was like messing with the camera, and then like, it's pretty thick in a lot of the areas I hunt. Deer pops up for 10 seconds and it's back. It disappears again.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah,
I have a love-hate with filming.
It's funny you say that because I was just talking about this the other day. The first time I killed a turkey, I killed with a bow. And everybody, usually when I say that, everybody's like, oh, wow. And I'm just like, calm down. It's been all downhill since. But
I can relate to that, yeah.
But the very first time I killed a turkey, it was a bow. And then I had my camera with me. And, I'm following the turkey, and it was like 4 of them, 4 mature long beards. They were Miriams in Nebraska. And I had them, all on camera, and I picked out one I was going to shoot. Then I get to the corner of my blind, and it's completely out of frame. Like all you see is like the black side of the blind. And at one point, it finally goes off in my head. It's like, okay, well, you got to shoot this thing if you're going to kill it, because otherwise it's just going to keep going. So it stopped. I draw back, shoot it. You can hear like the arrow smack it and everything. Even though you can't see it, you can hear it. And then he wobbles off. And then I got the wobble on there, and I'm thinking, okay, I've completely blown this. And then he took off. And and flew, and I don't know, maybe another 20, 30 feet, and then piled up under a cedar tree. And I just thought, he had got away. But when I went back and looked at the film, it's like clearly, I hit it, and then it flied off and it died up under the tree. But it was definitely one of the most exciting things that I've done so far, but also the most nerve-wracking, because you're sitting there and the video guy director in me wants to keep following this turkey and have it in perfect frame, not realizing that your room to shoot is over with, and it's like, okay, well, you got nice video, but if you don't kill this thing, it's kind of all for naught. So,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was actually that was pretty amazing. I look back at that video and I'm just like, oh man. So, growing up in Connecticut, did you get to hunt in Connecticut? Like, did you learn like everything? Like, who got you started, and like what was that aha moment for you? Like, okay, I'm hooked on this, and this is something that I'm gonna do.
It's a story with a lot of turns, because so my dad, he's a gun hunter, and he's the type of gun hunter. He's like one of those that's like, gun season's here in Connecticut. It's like a 1 week shotgun season.
Mm-hmm.
Hunts for that season, doesn't see a deer, and that's it type of guy. But
Gotcha.
that little bit of exposure was just like enough for me to like, light that fire in me. And he doesn't bow hunt. My mom obviously doesn't bow hunt. She's not from America, so
Okay.
that's not something that she was like brought up around. She doesn't exactly support my bow hunting. But and so just a little bit of that. I always had an interest in archery,
Mm-hmm.
and so I started like making bows by myself. Like watching DVDs. We didn't have YouTube back then,
Right.
so
Right.
kids these days don't know how good they have it. But yeah, so I started making like bows in my garage. I took my like bowhunter safety course with like a bow I made, and like got some like funny looks, showing up with like this homemade hickory bow and wood arrows. And before that hunting season, I ended up buying a like a fiberglass and wood recurve bow,
Mm-hmm.
the Martin Howitt Hunter, and I got some carbon arrows, and just went out in public land by myself. I'm 16 years old, and tried to figure it out. Busted I don't know how many deer, not knowing what I was doing. Saw a deer, but never had like a shot.
So
Got close a few times, but like,
wait a minute. I want to back up just a tad, because, and you have to excuse me. Sometimes I'm late to the party and stuff registers like late with me sometimes. But you made your own bow
yeah,
and arrows. Like, okay, so you go from being exposed, gun hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, there's no YouTube, there's no, all the things, the comforts that we have today. Like, what in you is just like, okay, hey, I'm going to go out, I'm going to make it. And then you're making them from like hickory and stuff, because for people that don't know, making a bow is not an overnight process.
no. You
Like
break a bunch before you
right.
When people shoot an arrow.
You really got to know what you're doing.
There's a really great book series, and so back when there used to be bookstores,
Back in the olden days, the 90s.
I was like in a bookstore. It's probably like a Barnes and Noble,
Yep.
and like in like the hunting section, or like it was like all sports section then.
Yep.
There was a book there called The Traditional Bowyer's Bible.
Okay.
And there's 3 volumes to it. They had volume 1 there. And it's a book that tells you how to make a bow. And like the intro to that book is this awesome story of this guy, talking about going hunting with his bow that he made. And it's just like really amazing romantic idea of doing something like that. So that was enough for me. I had this interest in hunting. I knew I wanted to hunt with a traditional bow. And so I was like, let's see if I can make a bow. So that's kind of how that snowballed.
Wow. That's awesome. Like, I have so much respect for guys that have the time and, more importantly, like, patience. Like, I envy patient people. Like, it's something that personally I'm working on, and definitely deer hunting is a education in patience every time. But just to have like the patience and to go through the process to make a bow, man, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's a super cool thing. I recommend it to anyone, even if you don't want to hunt with it. It's a fun thing to do, for sure. And you don't need like special wood or anything. If you go to like a Home Depot and they have like the oak boards, you just need to find one that's straight grain. There's a ton of YouTube videos now on how to make a bow from one of those. It costs like $5 for that piece of wood, and then just some simple hand tools. You can make a bow.
Wow. And then you do your arrows the same, right? Do you make your arrows as well?
Yeah, I do, but for arrows, I would recommend, if you're going to get wood arrows, get like good wood arrow shafts from, like a traditional archery supplier. Don't just buy dowels, because they have to spine them out. They need to be consistent for them to do anything that you want.
Gotcha. It's funny because I remember we talked before, and forgive me, I know I'm all over the place. That's one of the things that we kind of do around here. We kind of just jump around from different places. When we talked before, I asked the question, archer or bow hunter?
Yes.
I consider myself a bow hunter. Like, and I don't know. I know I told it to you, but to the listeners, like, a quick story. First time I picked up a bow, I went to, first time I picked up as an adult, I should say. I went to this, to a archery shop, and they had like an introductory class where it's like $20. You go, you shoot a recurve. Like, you don't even shoot a compound. You shoot a recurve. So it's instinctual shooting and stuff, go through the form and everything like that. And I remember the guy teaching the class, he would say, it was like, okay, this is how you do it, blah, 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 blah. And probably that class was like a 45-minute class, probably like 20 minutes into it. I'm like, yeah, I got this. I can definitely learn how to do it, especially on a compound bow platform. And the guy said, not just to me, but to everybody in the class, it was just like, you all are here today taking your first step towards becoming archers. It's great that you're here, because nowadays everybody wants to be a bow hunter, and just they don't want to take the time to learn the skill and the passion and like all that. Like, he was just real like romantic about, like, romanticizing about it, and he's just real crotchety. And after about, like I said, 20 minutes in, I was like, yep, I'm good. I took that class, I finished the class, enjoyed it, went to the Bass Pro Shop and bought my first compound bow. So I was definitely, in his mind, contributing to the problem, because no, I did not want to take the time to be the instinctual archery shooter. I wanted to be a proficient compound bow shooter so I could bow hunt. As for you, Scott, archer or bow hunter, what say you?
It depends on the time of year. So, like, part of what I did after I got started in bow hunting is I started to compete in archery also, and that became a huge part of my life. I went to college to be on the James Madison University archery team.
Oh,
that was a huge part of something that I did. I had those Olympic ambitions throughout college, and then, after college, I continued competing, and I still compete in archery today. So, like, in the summertime, I'm usually shooting my competition bow, and, my hunting bow doesn't get that much attention, but around August, I switch over, start getting everything ready for hunting season, and then sorry.
Oh, that's not.
And then once hunting season is here, I'm 100% a bow hunter, and don't even look at my competition bow. So it kind of depends.
That's fair. That's fair. You kind of go back and forth between, and just the competition. I think what people don't understand, competition shooting, even 3D shooting, whole different skill set than bow hunting.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Just the amount of like the skill that goes into like, and then you got all kind of things, that you have to, compensate for, when you're bow hunting, that, if you're just shooting a still target that's not going to move on you, that's not going to turn, it's not going to jump the string. Like it's just completely different. Would you say one is easier to transfer translate into the other, or vice versa? Like, is it easier to go from like competition archery to bow hunting, or bow hunting to competition archery? Like, what do you find a difficulty in making, like, weaving between the two?
I think that shooting competitions will definitely help your shooting and art, for bow hunting, because you're working on your form. That's the biggest thing, is you're being an accurate archer. And if you're shooting 3D competitions, you're judging distance a lot. You're still aiming at a spot that you can't see. And most 3D tournaments, there's no orange dot or anything on the 3D target. You still have to figure that out. The big thing, and there is pressure involved in competitive archery, and you have to learn how to manage that.
Right.
However, it is nothing like shooting at a live animal. If, I felt those kind of nerves when I was shooting at a target, I don't know if competitive archery would be that much fun to do that over and over and over again, because I might have a heart attack. So, but it does help, So yeah, I would say if you're a competitive archer and you want to get started in bow hunting, you might have an easier time than like a bow hunter who's just like maybe has only shot like 20 yards, and then you want to go and try and shoot 50-meter compound outdoor competition. You might want to take a few archery lessons and make sure you have the right gear and all that before you did that. Right.
That, and then it's because it's like you say, if you shoot longer shots, then the chip shots are easier in theory, but like you said, when you add that pressure,
yes,
it's not, it's still, you still got that, coming down on that animal and stuff, and it's just like, all right, we're here at this moment and trying to make a great shot, or trying to make at least a good shot. So
yeah, in bow hunting, you need to be able to make these like really important decisions really quickly on the fly while you have all this adrenaline going through your veins. So like that's like something that you really don't get in archery, because even if you have 1 minute to shoot one arrow in a competition, that's a lot longer than you have to make a shot on an animal most of the time. So
wow, I did not realize that there was a clock on, so you get like 1 minute for that individual target.
It depends on the tournament format, so like an indoor tournament that's 20 yards, you're shooting 3 arrows at a time, so you have about 3 minutes to shoot those 3 arrows. So
gotcha. Wow. Yeah, it's
funny time.
I keep saying say it again.
It's all the time in the world.
I keep saying that I want to do like 3D, like I
should. It's fun.
Like competition 3D. Like I tell you what I enjoy, and
you live in a great part of the country for it, because a lot of the major 3D tournaments are right around you.
Right, and the weather's usually nice, so it's easy to get out and be outdoors and stuff. So, and I've seen a few of the 3D tournaments, and they do look fun. And I keep saying I'm gonna find the time to try to do one. But I tell you what I do miss, and what I enjoyed, what I really enjoyed, and I wish there was a place down here that had it. Techno Hunt.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Techno Hunt is so amazing. Like, I trained for like my first few bow hunts. Well, first of all, I was living in Wisconsin, so the weather outside is crappy and everything to begin with. So there's not a lot of 3D stuff until like later in the spring, almost till the summer. And usually by that time I was already gone. Like, I'd come back down to Georgia. But like in the dead of winter, like being able to do the techno hunt thing, where basically, like, if you ever wonder what happened to those old laser disc, Jesus Christ, laser disc, oh my God, laser disc back in the day. Like, if you want to know what happened to those, just go to your local archery shop that has techno hunt, and there they are, because they're basically those big old laser disc, and they put them in the machine, and they're basically different hunting scenes. And your goal as a bow hunter, usually from 20 yards away, is to make these shots on these animals. And it is a great tool to help you get ready for the season, because the animals are not always 20 yards broadside. Like, they turn, they move, you got to wait for them to stop. And then there's all different kind of animals. I absolutely love the techno hunt.
Me too. So one of my local archery shops, Shooters Archery, they have one of the newer systems that runs off like a laptop, and you don't have to use special points on it. You can, because it projects it onto an actual target. So, no more like that screen and the blunt tips.
Right. Yep.
Use your field points, so you don't have to change anything. And it is an absolute blast.
Man, and that's up there. In Richmond.
Yeah, they're in Beaver Dam, Virginia.
Man, that might be a summer road trip right there. Just to go check that out, because, like I said, to me, it's just one of the better tools, like one to prepare for a hunt, and even not so much preparing for a hunt, just like plain old fun. Like, you just get out and enjoy shooting your bow, and just enjoy, being outside, or enjoy shooting, in general. It's just a great way to enjoy it. So, because I think a lot of times too, people get away from, just the enjoyment of shooting a bow. Like, shooting a bow to me is relaxing. And it's not always necessarily about, preparing for deer season or preparing for turkey season or whatever, going hog hunting or whatever. Sometimes you just want to go out and put up like, 30, 40 arrows just because you enjoy shooting. Yeah,
absolutely. I have bows that, I don't hunt with, I don't shoot competitions with. They're just fun bows to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just for that reason, just because archery is fun.
Man. So, if you were talking to someone and they had absolutely no idea, it's like, okay, Scott, I see this archery thing, I see, shooting bows and stuff, and it looks like it's fun. What would you tell a first-time archer, first-time bow hunter, like how to get started, what to do? Like, what are the simple steps into getting started?
First thing I would do is find an archery shop near you that does archery lessons and has rental equipment. That way, you can sign up for like a 30-minute archery lesson. You don't have to buy any equipment. Your only investment into the sport so far is whatever they charge for that, that 30-minute lesson. And usually it's not a ton of money. And then you can try the sport. You'll learn the basics, see if you like it. Then you're building a relationship with that archery shop, who is really going to be like your base of operations as you're getting started, because, there's a lot of people make the mistake of they buy a bow online, like everything else in the world.
Right.
But it's really not that simple with archery. There's so many options, and everything has to be so customized to you as an individual that you really need the help of like a brick and mortar store to help you get started, make sure you're getting all the right stuff.
Right.
Even if like, the bow at the mom and pop shop is priced higher than a bow that you saw online, you're going to end up saving money by not buying a bunch of the wrong stuff and getting started the wrong way.
Very accurate. Very accurate. Like I found that out the hard way. Let's just say, like, and
Yeah.
nothing against the big box stores. They got me set up, and they got me, started, and I got started shooting and everything. But then when I went to my first mom and pop bow shop, and I took my bow, and they just kind of looked at it, and it was like, well, did you think about this? And have you had it paper tuned, or what about a drop away rest as opposed to a whisker biscuit or whatever, especially if you're thinking about hunting with it. Like just things that you don't normally think about, or, you might not have that attention to that detail that a big box place, like a specialized mom and pop archery shop will usually have you covered on that front.
Right. Yeah. And the people who run those shops, they're doing it because they're passionate about the sport. So they usually know what they're talking about.
Now, you going back to your job, like you said, digital manager for the Archery Trade Association. Of course, Archery Trade Association, everything archery, does great work for, getting people out into archery, does great things as far as like keeping bow hunters and stuff informed. But you also work on another project that is really great for bow hunters, Bowhunters United.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to fall back, move out of the way, because I know you're probably sitting over there like, God, this guy's wordy. Is he going to just get to the question? But Bowhunters United, what's it all about? Why is it so awesome?
All right. So, this is something that, the Archery Trade Association had been thinking about for a long time. And it really came about because there was a need for a national organization for bow hunters. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of great conservation organizations out there, but we wanted to make one that kind of like brought all bow hunters together, hence the name Bowhunters United, mm-hmm. and really created a better future for current and future bow hunters. And so doing a lot of grassroots recruitment efforts and grassroots projects that are going to make bow hunting better for the long term.
And see, the key word to me when I listen to you talk about that is bringing all bow hunters together.
Yes.
All. So not just you need to look a certain way, or you need to Absolutely. Have this type of bow, or you can only shoot, this way or hunt that way. Like, it's Bowhunters United. Everybody, black, brown, female, Asian, disabled, like everyone. And I think a lot of times we kind of lose sight of that, archery, bow hunting is for everyone.
Yes, it is for everyone. And it's also, we get very cliquey in bow hunting. You got the public land guys, you got your private land guys, you have, I'm a true bow hunter because I shoot a compound bow. You're not a bow hunter because you shoot a crossbow. If we just set all that aside,
right.
We can get back to fighting with each other on Facebook a little bit. We just set all that aside and we think about what really matters.
Yep.
We can do a lot of good.
I totally agree with that. I was having a conversation with one of your comrades, and I told her, I said, everybody's always hollering about, what group is going to, mess this up, the antis and all this other stuff, and the libs and whatever group that sometimes bow hunters or just hunters in general have this instilled fear of. And I'm just like, no, yes, you gotta pay attention to, people that are opposing, this sport or this way of life. But before they get here, we're going to be the ones that implode and mess it up with all the infighting over just like dumb shit that makes no sense. Like, we could do more by being on the same page for the sport and the way of life that we love than doing a whole bunch of infighting and stuff. Like, by the time all these other groups, the PETA people and, all those folks get here, they're basically, think of it as like hyenas or coyotes. By the time they get here, they're just picking off the carcass, because we would be then rotted to death and make it, and implode. So I wish more people realized that.
Yeah. And I also wish more people remembered back when, not too long ago, when there weren't bow seasons. There was just hunting season.
Right.
As bow hunter numbers grew, we got to have our own seasons, and then we got to have seasons that in a lot of states are, at a better time of year for hunting than gun seasons, and longer. So big picture.
It's longer, and we get started earlier, or at least you have the option to get started earlier. People that live in South Carolina or even here in Georgia, like I got buddies in South Carolina, they can start at the end of August, but they don't want to because of all the snakes and stuff. But you have that option.
For sure.
So just, being able to have those options, and like I said, I just think we can do more together than we can, infighting amongst each other. But I'm going to get off my soapbox about that.
Yeah.
So, what is next for Scott? I mean, I know we got turkey season coming up. Are you going to be dedicated to killing a turkey bow only the entire year? Will you pick up a shotgun, 410, 12 gauge? What are you into?
Man, that's a good question, and I have not decided yet. So last year was the first year that I did not hunt with a bow during turkey season. I only hunted with a shotgun. And I had a good time, but I was really missing my bow. Just because, like, last year, I was on a new property. I wanted to be really mobile. I didn't want to worry about blinds or decoys or anything like that.
Yep.
But now that I know this place, I do have a few spots that would be really good to just set up and sit quietly and wait.
Mm-hmm.
So I might set up a blind there, bring a bow with me. So yeah, TBD. What about you?
Awesome. No, my plan is to get one with a shotgun first, because I didn't kill one last year. I was supposed to go hunt in Texas, but then all the COVID stuff happened.
Gotcha.
So I hunted here in Georgia, but like I said, I did not get one. And, I was talking to someone a few weeks ago. Matter of fact, I think it was Scott Ellison. I was talking to him, big time turkey hunter and turkey calling champion and stuff. And I was telling him, and of course he agreed. Like, I heard somebody say it, and the more I think about it, it's true. It's like turkeys were created to be shot in the face with a shotgun.
I've heard that from a lot of people.
And at first I was kind of like, I don't know about that, especially as a person that's killed their first turkey with a bow. It's like, I've killed a turkey with a bow. I've done something that most people do not do in a lifetime, at least when they're first starting out. So it's like, I've done something to be proud of. Then I shot one with a shotgun, and I was just like, man, that is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So I think I want to try to get one under my belt. And then the other prevailing reason, I miss turkey meat. Because wild turkey meat, oh man, like the things that you can do with wild turkey meat, brother, it's delicious. So I want to get one in the bag, in the freezer, so I can get it to the grill. And then that'll take some of the pressure off. And then I can kind of, take my time and ease my way into trying to kill one with a bow again.
You're talking my language when you're talking about turkey meat. Absolutely.
Wild turkey meat, man. Like the first time I had a wild turkey breast, like I took the whole breast, I breasted out the bird, took the whole breast, and injected with Cajun butter for the inside and seasoned it on the outside and let it sit overnight and then put it on the smoker. And when we took that thing off and sliced it, man, when I tell you that Cajun butter was just running right down the lines.
God.
Oh man, it was a shame that was all I had, and like that breast, that was all that we had. So I was just like, okay, I got to get another turkey. I got to figure out how to do this thing whole, so I can have like the whole turkey, and then the other side of the breast, like I chopped up and I made like turkey nuggets, and those things were just So yeah, I gotta get we can kill 3 in Georgia, so I need to get at least 2. So yeah. I can, have one to put on the smoker, and then hopefully do one whole for Thanksgiving. Now here's one for you. Are you a fall turkey hunter? Do you guys have a fall season in Virginia?
We do, but man, I rarely see them in the fall.
It's crazy because I hear them more in the fall than I do in the spring. It's funny how that works, but I always hear them in the deer stand. We don't have a fall season here in Georgia, but I hear them more definitely in the fall, gobbling and putting and all kind of stuff. And it's just like, where y'all come April? Like, they just get quiet and stay quiet, it seems like. Or maybe I'm just hunting in the wrong spot. So I don't know. There's always that.
Man, you're talking about Cajun butter and turkey breast has me hungry. Like that podcast you did with Rue.
Yep.
Oh my God, you guys started talking, and I was like, man, I'm so hungry now.
Man, I'm telling you, like, people, me and Rue were talking, and it's funny because I made a correlation, or I made observation that people from out west and from like further down south, like Arkansas and stuff, like they're really into the romanticism of hunting. Like they're into, like the conservation, knowing where your food came from, like food to table and all that stuff. And it's perfectly fine. Like I've gained a better appreciation from talking to folks like that. But like for me and like my buddies like here, we're like, we want to kill deer because it tastes good. We want to kill turkeys because they taste good. We want to kill wild hogs because they taste good and because, it's fun and stuff like, and it's just funny, those two thought processes, and how they're different. But at the end of the day, we still enjoying the same sport. But I love the food aspect part of it and the things that you can do with it and learning how to do different things with it, because I'm just an old dirt road country griller. Just throw it on the grill, flip it over a couple times, and then call it good. But starting to marinate and do different things and smoking meats and deer and stuff, man. I get excited thinking about that stuff, Scott. I tell you.
One of my other hobbies is cooking, so I love it.
Oh, there you go. Right up your alley.
Yeah. And it's fun to share wild game. Back before COVID, we used to have wild game dinners and have people over. And whenever we'd have people over, I always have to cook like something wild game. So you can just expose people to it, get them interested in it. You have stories that go along with that. You're building a connection within the meal.
Yep.
It's the same thing. Like, I like cooking a lot of food that has like a little bit of history behind it, like, dishes that have been around for a while, or I have a garden, so like I grow a lot of like heirlooms that have like cool backstories to them. So it's all just like, it all comes together and makes like a really fun meal.
Right. And like I said, just to have that appreciation, knowing where your stuff comes from, knowing that you grow, that, you've been part of the growing process from tip to tail. I mean, it just makes it even better. But yeah, I miss those days of being able, like I had like take some goose breast and put that out there on the grill. Maybe have mix in one of my favorite games to play is the deer or beef, and take deer burgers and make deer burgers, and then grill beef burgers, and then put them all together in the same thing, and it's just like let people grab them, and it's like, oh wow, that's good. It's like, yeah, that's a deer. So, some people don't find that as funny as I do, but it's just like you've opened up someone to something different now. So.
Yeah. I mean, like last year, my friend had a Super Bowl party, and I brought a whole front shoulder of a deer that I had slow cooked. I did it like barbacoa to make tacos out of, and brought a slow cooker over there. Mm-hmm. People are eating. They're like, "Wow, this is amazing!" I was like, "Oh yeah, it's a deer shoulder."
Right. It's that after the fact exposure is just like what, and then I have then I got friends that are just like, don't try to slide me anything like this, I'm watching you, and I'm just like, hey, if it's not your bag, I'm not going to force you. I don't need you wasting my good deer food by chucking it back up because you don't like it or whatever the case is. It's like I'd rather give it to somebody that I know is going to eat it, or hell, I'm definitely going to eat it myself. So there's no need to waste it on you if you're not going to eat it. So,
did I hear you tried raccoon?
Oh, Scott. Yes, finally, it's one of those things. And actually, the people that listen to my podcast is probably tired of hearing me talk about it because it's been a 2-year thing. Ever since I've started this podcast, I've had people on that have tried to tell me that that raccoon is just like pork. And I'm like, I don't know about that, because all I see is Trash Panda and the black eyes. But finally, when I was in Arkansas on a snow goose hunt, and Jonathan, I don't know if you follow Black Duck Revival, but it's a great follow. Jonathan that runs that place down there, he's a great cook. He's posting stuff on Instagram all the time of like stuff that he does. I mean, like he really does some high-end chef stuff with wild game meat. All the stuff that he kills, catches, traps, whatever, he's right down there in those swamps of Arkansas. So anyway, he made a raccoon that he trapped. And I think he braised it, put all these different kind of spices and African spices and stuff in it. Sweet potato tortellini, which I've never had before. Honestly, never knew it existed until I had it. And so you got the braised raccoon, and a lot of times people always talk about eating raccoon with sweet potatoes. So it was the braised raccoon with the sweet potato tortellini, and I must say that it was very tasty. Now, does that mean that I'm ready to go out and sign me up for some barbecue raccoon? Slow down. But my one instance, the first time that I had it, I can honestly say it was really good.
I'm gonna have to give it a try now. Next time a big one waddles by my stand, I might have to ruin an arrow.
It like I said, the way that he did it, it didn't taste any different than like a beef pot roast. So it was, like I said, it was good. But I've had guys on, and I've had folks talk to me about it, and they swear it's like, oh, I can make a coon taste like barbecue pork. And I'm thinking to myself, why would you want to? But I mean, honestly, when you strip away like my own biases and then the thoughts of what we know raccoons are, the reality is like it's a dish and it's a delicacy that goes back hundreds and hundreds of years. So of people cooking and eating raccoon, barbecuing, with sweet potatoes and all kind of other stuff. So it's definitely been around. I'm just the one that didn't partake in it for a while, but like I said, I can check it off. I've tasted it. It's not bad. I'm in no hurry to try it again. I'll tell you something else too while we're on the subject that was kind of different from me. We had goose heart And I've never been a big organ guy. As far as like eating organs and stuff, and I had a buddy of mine that tells me deer heart is the best thing since sliced bread. But so I had goose heart, and it was just real gummy, and I wasn't overly fond about it. But that was I could check that one off. So because like I've said before on numerous occasions, when it comes to trying new food, if I got to pay for it, I'm definitely not into experimenting. But this was given to me on a complimentary basis. So I was like, all right, then I'll try your raccoon and your goose. So or your goose heart. I've cooked geese all the time, but yeah, your raccoon and your goose heart. I'll try it. So yeah. What's I guess in that same vein, what is the most exotic or out of the box wild game thing that you've had?
Well, I guess along the lines of like organ meat, like for me, like liver is something that I'm not like a huge fan of, but I'm always trying to figure out ways of cooking it in a way that I will enjoy it. So I was watching a show where like people are trying out to be like, an Iron Chef. It was like on the Food Network, and Stephanie Eizard was a chef's name, and she makes a chicken liver ice cream. I was like,
what?
People were going nuts over it. I was like, okay, this is interesting. So I was like, I'm going to try to do this with deer liver. So my wife has a friend of hers over for dinner. I'm, making like all these courses. And for dessert, I have a deer liver ice cream that I've made. And it did not taste bad. It was interesting. It was like very earthy, kind of nutty, but the aftertaste, irony liver that lets you know that, you're eating liver.
In an ice cream?
In an ice cream, yeah.
Wow. Okay. I think you've definitely, A, got my coon story beat. B, wow. Deer liver ice cream.
Yeah. Wow. Probably wouldn't make it again, but not that bad. So far, my favorite way to do liver is to put into sausage.
Yeah, I could see now that's a little bit more. That's a little bit more down the line. So did you put this ice cream in a cone or like?
No, so I served it in a bowl, and then I served it with like a topping of lingonberries. And so like a lingonberry is like a very traditional like European thing to put with venison.
Okay.
It's kind of like a very tart, kind of like a cranberry sauce feel to it. So kind of paired pretty well with that.
Wow. Man, you learn something new every day. That's all.
So
you learn something new every day.
I look forward to next deer season when I hear that you've made deer liver ice cream.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, Scott. Maybe I don't know. Maybe
you'll build the bow first, and then
I need to. Yeah, there are a lot of other things that would happen before that, but you could sneak that past me. I tell you what, if I make it up to Virginia this summer to come try the modified techno hunt that you guys got up there, then I don't know, maybe we can sit outside and have just a little pinch of deer liver ice cream and just make sure you got a trash bag nearby. Scott, I appreciate you taking the time to come by and just kick it and shoot the breeze here on the Bryant Land Show. But man, before you get out of here, let folks know where they can find you. Where can they find your deer liver ice cream recipe if they so choose?
I did post it on the Bowhunting 360 Instagram story. I might have, saved it as a highlight. I'll have to go check, but it's been a few years.
And where can they find you and follow you?
So if you're, below the age of 40, you're probably on Instagram. So Uh, Here we go. Scott Einsmann, all one word, is my personal, and then my work accounts are Bowhunting 360, Archery 360, Bowhunters United official, and Archery Trade with the line after for the Archery Trade Association.
Nice. Scott Einsmann, thank you for joining us. Thank you for introducing us to Deer Liver Ice Cream.
My pleasure.
Forget the other 54 minutes worth of stuff that we've talked about. Your legacy now is officially Deer Liver Ice Cream.
Bryantland.
Deer Liver Ice Cream, kids. That's what we're going to take away from almost 55 minutes of conversation, ups and downs, ebbs and flows. I made a verbal misspeak, if you will. Apologize for that. It happens. I told you guys a long time ago that, we're very transparent here on the Bryant Land Show, and I messed that one up. My bad. But I think Deer Liver Ice Cream overrides all of that. But nevertheless, enjoy talking to Scott. Hopefully, if you get a chance, go out, get you some deer liver ice cream if that's your thing, if that's what you want to do. You go for it. But like I said, really enjoyed talking to him. We had a great conversation. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that as well. As for me, I'm going to move along, finish getting my week going here. Like I said, it's Monday. Hope you guys have a great week. If you're getting ready for youth season in your states, hope you are prepared, and I wish you all the success in those seasons. I know folks down in Florida already getting started getting after the birds. Wish all you guys great success, but more importantly, make sure you come back here next week for another episode of the Bryant Land Show. Y'all have a great week.